Hello everyone, today's video is going to be another installment of my chopping block series. I am doing a chopping block series throughout 2026 where I did an intro, and in that intro I believe I showed 10 eyeshadow palettes that are on the chopping block. I've already done one update in this series, and this will be the second update in the series where I am focusing on one palette, and my goal is to use it 3 times, see if it actually should belong in my collection or not. My last update, the palette did stay. This update, the palette will leave. So it is not the goal for every single palette to be decluttered. The goal is just to see if it still holds a spot in my collection, and this palette unfortunately does not. So in today's video, we are talking about the Heather Austin palette from Adept Cosmetics. I got this palette from a friend, so this was friend mail, and I wanted it because I wanted to see if I like the Adept formula. Adept has been very back and forth on if their formulas are good, and I just wanted to see for myself. I am at the point now where I feel like I really don't care to try a whole lot of different formulas. Like, there are just some brands I've never tried, and I'm like, you know what, I really don't care to try them. You know what I mean? This palette was specifically for testing out formula and if I enjoy Adept at all. I don't think Adept is very good, and this is again an older palette. It's an old format. They're now looking all very similar to Natasha Denona packaging and the format and everything. But even though this is an older formula, this does not give me any excitement to try new palettes. Like, anytime they come out with anything, I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for it because I already know I don't like this formula. So I'm thinking to myself, like, how much better did it actually get? So we will go over this palette. I did 2 looks. Usually I want to do 3 looks, but I just don't want to use this palette again. And that is part of the reason why it is leaving, because I did a look solely with this, and then I'm like, I don't really care for it. I didn't enjoy the process. And then I was like, okay, I'll pair it with something else. Did that, and then I'm thinking to myself, like, I really could have used any other palette to make this look. And then I'm like, I really don't want to use this anymore. And then there is 2 shades in this palette that I actually really enjoy, and I was able to find a like exact dupe of it in my collection, just in my brain, not actually going through and searching for one. Like, I just saw the shadow and I'm like, oh yeah, I have that shadow in this palette. It's this specific shade, which we will show and go over. So like, the shades that I want, I can already dupe. Well, I can definitely dupe the one. I'm sure I can dupe the other if I actually searched. I just don't want to use the palette, and I'm not impressed with the looks that I made, honestly. So this palette will be leaving my collection, and hopefully by the time this video goes up, it will be sold. The friend that gave this to me doesn't care if I sell it. We give each other palettes back and forth all the time. So for me to sell a palette that she given me, it was like, I might as well have sold a palette that I've given her sort of mentality. So like, if she wants to sell a palette I gave her, good for her. If I want to sell a palette she gave me, good for me. It is what it is. Anyway, I'll put that aside because some people think because I got it in friend mail, like, I shouldn't be able to sell it and get any kickback from it. But honestly, the friendship we have, we just don't care. So I will be selling this. Unfortunately, I do not like it very much. So look number 1 that I will have up here on the screen for you. This look was nothing really spectacular. So I really wanted to just play around with the palette, and I ended up using these 2 matte shades, the like burnt orange and then the raspberry, cranberry, burgundy shade. And then I used this shadow, which it looks green in some lighting, and it looks like a burnt orange, coppery sort of color in other lighting. I tried to get the shift in a mirror. It's not very shifty. That shade is not very shifty. And for how expensive these palettes are, I want the shimmers to shift, and they just really did not do that for me. The mattes were extremely difficult to blend, and they were not very friendly to me at all. And those 2 shades I consider neutrals, so they should not have any trouble blending. And if you can see Shiloh in the background and you can hear him walking on the floor, that's what that is. But the shades I used, I consider them neutrals. They should not be difficult to blend. They should not be difficult to make do on my eyes. Like, I was just not impressed at all. Like, today I'm wearing cosmic brushes on my eyes today. They're blues and purples, blended so much nicer than these neutrals ever did. And the shade wasn't shifty enough. The masks were difficult to blend. So I'm like, I really don't care for this look or the process to get said look. The second look I told you, I like combined it with another palette. Part of my problem with this Heather Austin palette is you do only have 4 matte shades. You do have something that can be like transitional colors. I just wanted something a little bit lighter to be able to blend into my skin tone a little bit better. And I really wanted to attempt something, at least with some of these greens. So I did pair it with the Snow Angel palette. Trying to blend these shades with another formula certainly helped. So in the look that I'm showing you here, I did use this light green and then this darker green. Also, do you love my nails? But I used the lighter green, darker green in my crease. And then from the Heather Austin palette, I did use this darker green. And then all over the lid, I used this light blue color. It looks like a white silver, but it does definitely have a blue to green like shift to it. And then I did try and use this color here. It's like a blue to purple sort of color. It's very putty-like. Did I like the look? Sure. Was the look spectacular? No. And I was not impressed with the overall vibes of this. And I don't really want to treat this palette as like a singles palette because I won't use it. And I know I won't use it. And the process to get there was fine, but it's nothing spectacular. And like, I could have made this look pretty easily with just the Snow Angel palette or the Snow Angel palette with another palette that I like. Like, I did not need the Heather Austin palette. Like, I could have deepened it up with this like winter shade or some other shade to deepen up this green. And maybe the shimmers wouldn't take me so dark, but I could have gotten a very similar vibe if I just used this palette. And I do really like my Snow Angel palette. So this palette wasn't doing it for me. There is only 2 shades that I actually really like in this palette. And that is the shade Passport here. It is like this pink to blue shifty shade, like you're gonna be able to tell. I do right on my hand. So that is the shade. I think it's a really pretty shade, I do. And then the other shade that I really like is Austin, which is that blue, green sort of color. So it's just really pretty. It doesn't look anything like I described it. I think it's just a very interesting color. It's an interesting color, but it's not like I'm reaching for this palette specifically for that color. Like, if I'm thinking, oh, I want to use a shimmer in this palette, my first go-to is Passport here on the bottom. And that is the shade that I know exactly where I have a duplicate. It is in my Fantasy Cosmetica Rogue palette. I love Fantasy Cosmetica so much. And if I swatch the shade Trickster here, it is literally the same color, same shifts, spectacular. Like, it is basically the same color. I'm sure if I went hunting, I could find a color that looks similar to the top one. But the shade that I'm really drawn to in this palette, I have an exact dupe. So there is no need for me to have the Heather Austin palette. It's just not a need. And like I said, my goal in these videos is not to declutter everything in my chopping block. It's to rediscover a favorite palette, or it is to weed out the palettes that do not belong. And this palette just unfortunately does not belong into my collection. It's very sad, but I will be selling it. It will be leaving my collection. And I want to add a couple more palettes into my chopping block in this update. So I do have 3 additional palettes to throw into this chopping block series. And I will probably do this periodically throughout the year. Like I had my first list in my intro, and then like in these little updates, I'll just dabble a few more, if any come to mind. This is one that I have definitely considered decluttering. I have definitely considered selling it, and I do want to sell it because it was a gift and I would like to get some sort of money back, like gift from my fiance, like same household budget, you know what I mean? And it was a pretty penny. Well, in my opinion, is a pretty penny because everyone has a pretty penny reference point. But I feel like indie palettes in general are just very expensive for what they are. And this one really did not hit the mark for me. It is my Nomad Ghost Town USA palette. This palette is just not something that fits all my boxes. And I much prefer my Pacific Northwest. And if I want a spooky palette, like I have the Salem, like the Salem, Massachusetts one, the Salem Witches or whatever it's called. Like those two from Nomad I really love and I will use much more than I use this one. It's just that these shades are just a little too dark for me, and a lot of these shimmers I'm just not a big fan of. So Ghost Town USA is going to be on my chopping block. I would like to get some use on this. Just because I am throwing them in my chopping block now does not mean this will be my next palette that I will focus on. It's just one that is going to be in my chopping block list to see if it really should be stayed in my collection. It's just, I'm not impressed with this. I'm not impressed with it. But it was my first ever Nomad palette that wasn't on sale, because I bought the Tokyo Harajuku palette because it was on sale, and I love that palette so much. You guys know that. And it's getting into spring, although it's been snowing and it's been in horrible weather the last couple days. But it's coming into spring, so you know, I definitely have an excuse to wear that palette. I am really excited to wear that palette. I'm not excited to use my Ghost Town USA. And then I am going to throw in these two ColourPop palettes. These are the oldest ColourPop palettes in my collection. Garden Variety is actually the first ever ColourPop palette I have ever gotten. And at this point, this used to be a Super Shock shadow, and it did dry out. So that is out of this palette. Both of these palettes are so old now. The quality has definitely declined. And if I were to get rid of them, unfortunately, they would probably go into the trash. Hate to say it, but that's kind of what it might boil down to. But like, I used to love this palette. I did. It's just getting older. I don't use it as often. And this might honestly be one of the next ones I do use because we're getting into spring weather, and this definitely says spring weather to me. Like, this is a very well-loved palette. It's nothing against the actual palette. It's just old. There are different reasons why things are on a chopping block. Some are because I just don't like it, and then some things is because of a quality concern. So that's on the list. And then this is the ColourPop Cabana Club palette. This is also an older one. I miss when ColourPop did like palettes this size and they weren't IP collabs and they actually had a fun theme. So this is very bright, very colorful. This one I feel like I've used more recently, but at the same time, it's like, how recently, you know what I mean? I recently pulled this in like a gold video. I believe it's this palette. Although there's a gold in this palette as well. But I think I thought that was a little bit too copper or something. I have no clue. But this one I definitely put in that video. And just comparing it to all the other palettes in that video, this was very lackluster. And I just want to see if it fits in my collection. Do I really need this palette? Like, is it really worthwhile to keep these two? Those are 3 palettes I'm adding in to the chopping block. There is 1 palette leaving my collection, the Heather Austin from Adept. I hope you guys enjoyed today's chopping block video. Let me know down below if you would like me to continue to do these on my channel. I can definitely do chopping block on my own, but I figured this would be fun to kind of take you along the ride, to be more mindful about decluttering, more mindful about using what's in your collection. Like, I'm just not the type of person that will do one mass declutter at the end of the year. Just not how I do things around here. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will leave my entire chopping block playlist linked down below. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe, like this video, hype it up so more people can find my channel and this video. Let me know down below what palette should I look into next, and if you guys are enjoying this series. I love and appreciate you all so much, and I shall see you guys next time.